Hi, once again. My name is Purity, and today is Tuesday. And what do we do on Tuesdays? On Tuesdays, we talk about relocation. We talk about what it is like to move from your home to a new home. And we've touched a bit on what documentation you need, the process. We've talked about maybe what packages the employers would give, what benefits one would get, and yeah, so we're here and we're at this point where we're asking, so what happens after you've secured your job? There's opportunity to move from your current home to the new home. So what happens next? So you're moving, and some companies give employees packages that allow them to move with all their assets that are movable, that they can relocate for them. Some companies give relocation packages, but some companies don't give relocation packages. They give the option of, accommodating you for a month or a certain time, a certain period of time as you settle in, as you organize yourself. So maybe if you're getting the relocation package, the question for you is, would you like to relocate the things that you currently have? Or would you like to use that to move what is essential for you and for your family, or maybe things that you know that once you move to the new home might be very difficult for you to find? Maybe the question is going back to your current accommodation arrangement. Are you in your own home? Are you renting? If you're renting, are you thinking to sell everything that you have in your house? Are you thinking to maybe move your things to a trusted person who will store them, a trusted person or institution? Or are you thinking of giving these things that you love to someone else who you know would benefit from them? Those are questions that you might want to consider. And then maybe now let's delve a little bit into the kind of assets that we might also have to handle. So, for example, are you considering, liquidating all your assets and moving with them to your new home country and reinvesting them there? Or are you considering leaving your assets in your current country of residence? So, for example, if you have long-term assets and your decision is to keep them, to let them stay in your current current home as you move to the new home, new country, the question is, where then do you leave your assets? In this case, we have things like property or land, or things that have paperwork, legal documentation to prove ownership belongs to you. Where do you leave such documents? Do you leave them with a trusted institution? Do you leave them with a trusted individual? Those are decisions you might want to think about in terms of where to lodge your documents, or where to just leave those documents that show evidence that you are the owner, especially as you now move in between countries. What about in situations where you have assets, but the legal process of getting this assets is not complete, and you still need to have these documents read that you are the rightful owner, and you do not have enough time to do the follow-up? What do you have? What are your recourse, legally speaking? What can you do as you still continue the process of relocation? Do you have the capacity to follow up and have these documents received before you relocate? Or do you have a trusted person or institution that you can leave this task to do for you and do the follow-up for you, and then just finish up this process as you relocate, so that you can peacefully relocate and go to the new home destination, but being sure that the legal processes and all these other documentations that you need to acquire in your name are still ongoing, and ongoing in the right way, One of the things you can consider doing is actually giving someone that you trust the power of attorney, so that they can be able to do these transactions on your behalf. Some of these things where you need to be physically present, and then you give someone the power of attorney, they are able to come in and deal for you, especially when you're not readily available to act on something that requires your authority in these legal processes. You can also sign an indemnity with institutions that allow you to send in electronic instructions if you're dealing with institutions that might not have put all the mobile and online capabilities that you need to transact with, especially when you're outside your current resident home and you're in the new home. Now, what about things like cars? Are you considering selling the cars? Are you considering keeping them, maybe based on your relocation arrangement? And if you're considering keeping them, do you have a safe place or a trusted person or institution where you can, a safe place or a trusted person you can leave these assets with? Or do you have an institution, a trustworthy institution that you can lease to, that they will be able to take care of your assets well, your car well, and use it well, and, for the time that you're not around? Or do you want to just sell? And maybe when you need one, at the time when you're thinking of coming back for a long stay, you will then consider acquiring a new one. Those are some of the decisions you might think about, maybe when it comes to cars, depending also on your home, on the home country that you're actually in. So now you've looked at your assets, look at everything. If you have a legal advisor who can actually advise every legal requirement on the assets and what you need to do, it's actually a very, very smart idea, so that you can get all the assistance you need as you start to move in between countries. And now, once you've looked at your assets, now you need to now think about your liabilities, if any. Let's go back to liabilities as close as, debts we owe with people who are very close to us. Do you have people that you need to pay back that have lent you any monies or things like that? So you need to have these conversations with them to let them know there is this relocation happening, and if you're certain about your income for the next months or so, or if you're certain or you're uncertain of the consistency of the income in this relocation, or the costs that you might need to incur, and a delay or a lapse on your end in terms of repayment, those are conversations maybe you need to talk about with those who you owe, so that you still are regarded as a trustworthy person and not as someone who, relocated and disappeared with someone's debt. What about liabilities you hold with an institution? These are good opportunities to actually have those conversations with these institutions. Go to the credit team and have conversations to even restructure your debt for the time that you need to, settle in, and give commitments to pay. That's very important. And again, also, these things that you want to leave a good credit score, because you never know where tomorrow you'll be again. You want to be able to go back, and if you need to borrow again in these institutions, you need to have good history. So don't go quiet and assume they'll look for you, things like that. Just make sure you have those conversations in terms of your liabilities, and make sure everyone knows that there's going to be this relocation, and it might affect your ability to maybe remit monies in between the two countries. And then they will structure something for you. They will even give a delay. Some liabilities, if not all, are attached to there's an insurance attached to them, which actually covers that month where your repayment delays. So if you have no commitments in terms of liabilities, then you're good to go. Actually, you might consider look at your liabilities and see whether there are some which you actually need to clear before you go, because you know how tight they are, in the sense that if you skip, or the complications of even approaching the institution and trying to restructure, you understand how complicated some of them are. If you can have those ones cleared, if possible, just make it easier for you to transition without really having the headache of thinking about the one that is a bit complicated. Those complicated liabilities that restructuring might be a challenge, but I believe anything is possible. So now, yeah, you've sorted your assets, you've sorted your liabilities, and now, depending on your destination country, you might now start thinking about, you might want to consider the kind of accounts that you hold in your current your current home country. The reason why I'm using the word current home country is because one's current home country might not necessarily be their original home country. So if your current home country currency is different from your destination home country, you might consider maybe having accounts that allow you to transact a common currency. So you might maybe approach the bank and ask to have an account that is managed by a relationship manager who's able to maybe get you good rates if there is any human intervention in terms of rates, the rates that you get when the foreign currency exchange takes place. And you can also do your research about the destination country you're going into to find out whether there are solutions that allow you to actually remit whatever monies you would want to remit without necessarily having to just go through long processes. But especially if you're going to do bulk amounts of money, consider a bank that can give you good rates depending on your countries, and even a relationship manager, a contact person who you know would be available every time you want to call and get a good deal, so that you don't lose out on foreign exchange. Yeah, because I mean, in this day and age, there are so many solutions. So you might actually find that the solutions in your destination countries just actually almost make you feel like you're still on a seamless transaction like your previous country. So those are things you might want to consider. Maybe talk to people or ask questions, the people who are in the destination country you're going to. In our case, from Kenya to UAE, if you've heard the word M-Pesa, it's a very big mobile wallet platform in Kenya. And so UAE has it. So it allows us to almost do our currency conversion in the UAE and still have our M-Pesa wallets operating in the UAE, and you still use it to make payments as if we are still in the home country. So like, that's just amazing. It just works so seamlessly, and it makes it very easy whenever we want to do any transactions, pay those bills back at home that are not so huge. It works well. And then M-Pesa kind of gives you a limit that allows you to also do a little huge amounts in case you have those huge, not so huge, but like averagely big deals that you'd want to deal with. Yeah, so you're ready to go. You're ready for your home country. Yeah. Do you have things in the house? Have you decided to sell, give away? Yeah, and yeah, just maybe thinking about maybe the life of the things that you're looking at as souvenirs. Do you want to move them? Are there some things which are very delicate? The moment you start moving them, you will start losing value on them. Of course, there are things you might really want to move around with, like things that carry your memories, like photos or memorable books, depending on what it is that you really find sentimental as you, if you're an individual or a family. Now you have, assuming you have the option of a relocation where you can put all the things that you need in a container and just ship them off. Check with your shipper what is allowed in that container, what is not allowed. And then also once you have those things that need to be shipped, if that is an option for you and that you are taking, then you have the option of also having some things on flight to your destination country. So that's your hand luggage and your suitcases as you're now traveling out of your current home country to your new home country. You want to consider what are the rules of the country you're moving into. You want to consider what's the weather like. You don't want to just pack all the things you like only to discover that you're not gonna wear them. For example, for us, UAE is a desert. It can get a little cool. It's called winter, but it's not the snow winter. So the first time we went, I was told, because we were gonna go during the cool months, so I was told it's gonna be cold, and I was busy packing gloves and everything ready for winter. Don't ask me why I didn't research. But yeah, only to find that cool is like your beautiful weather where you don't see sweaters in like months or any warm wear in like months and months and months, and then you get into summer where you dress as light, as cooling as possible. So you might want to consider that. What are you carrying? And then in terms of clothing, what is your destination temperature? What is the climate like? What are the seasons like? How hot do they get? Is it summer hot or summer cool summer? Is it winter cold, super cold winter, or is it cool winter? So just to get to know what it is that you're gonna have to deal with, and then do you need to shop for things in your current country, or would you rather go into the destination country and shop from there? So funny thing is that in Kenya, I think we almost have a moderate weather because we are at the equator. So you almost have the same clothes throughout the season. But when you go to UAE, whenever people are transitioning from summer to winter, you'll start seeing a change of clothes that are being sold. They will try to put in a few clothes to just keep you warm. Of course, you have the shops that will then give you the option to shop if you're thinking of going into other destinations where you need to be as warm as ever. But so there is always that option of changing whatever is in the shop to accommodate the new season that we're about to move into. So you might consider that. Do you want to shop in your home country? Would you rather carry what is special, precious to you, and go to the destination country and get what you'd need? And that's clothes, and then maybe even to talk about food. I know food is a big one because people want to have their tastes in the new country they're going into. Check whether the country you're traveling into allows you to even carry a seed, because some countries will be okay with you traveling in with food so long as it's packed, processed, and nicely sealed. Some countries will not allow you to enter the airport even with an apple, and if you do, you'll get fined on the spot. Like, you'll just get fined once your luggage is in, you and your luggage fined. So you might want to check those things with your airline. And this is now you're ready, you've said bye to all your families and friends. Off you go to the new country. And yeah, you might, this is the interesting thing. The first time we went, for the love of ugali for Kenyans and maybe a lot of our African friends who have maybe pap or ugali or some of this, what we make, ugali, pap, same, almost the same kind of food. When we first moved, we carried like kilos and kilos and kilos of flour. And this is where we got a lesson. When COVID hit, so we couldn't fly in or out or move things in from the home country to UAE because of the lockdown that was happening globally. And so we learned something very special. Sometimes what you're really, really looking for in your home country could actually be available where you are at. You just need to look for communities that almost eat similar things to you, especially those big communities. For me, it was Indians. I realized that wherever there were Indian shops, there would be foods from similar to what we'd have back at home in Kenya, but with different names. So COVID taught me to learn how to get what I need in the destination country as much as it is possible, unless there are special things that you really, really have to carry from your home country, if it is allowed in your destination country. So yeah, interesting things. This world is such a village. You might carry something only to find out that your neighborhood has it. You probably might pay a premium. But yeah, just to let you know that you might just find that what you love the most is actually there with a different packaging, different names. You might just need a little more time to find it, or talk to those around you, explore, and you might just find it. But not always. Some of the things you will not find. Some, because products mainly, there's some products that are almost made generic, but you'll find that a lot of products are tailored for the countries, for the regions that they will be sold in. So those are some of the things you might want to think about. And then interestingly, we'll end it here, but maybe next time we want to talk about what do you pack, some critical things that people actually need to have with them. Are you on medication? Do you need to go with your medication, or are you done? You're finishing your dose. And then also, what are the rules of medication? In some countries, we can almost buy everything over the counter. Some countries, you can't buy some of these medications without a prescription. So those are some of the things you might consider to look into, especially if you probably are on medication for something. And then if you have children, vaccines, some of them are almost standard globally. Some vaccines start to change. You'll notice maybe the dosage is different in a different region. The vaccine schedule is different in the different regions. You want to make sure you keep your record and make sure by the time you're traveling, you have updated all the vaccines you need, especially for children, as much as possible. And then when you move, you also then want to find a place where you can continue the vaccination if you have children. So maybe you have special products that you use, like oils. By the time we were moving countries, our son was using oelatum because we had bouts of eczema, and that happened to be the miracle God gave us. Oelatum worked superbly. So oelatum is not so popular. It's very localized. It's not a local product, but it's readily available back at home more than it is outside in the UAE. And the common name you'll find being used is emollient everywhere. The word emollient is very common, but the oelatum itself, the specific oil that we needed, would not be available. So those are some of the things that we would be like, oh, we need to buy this. So thank God for things like Amazon, but you might not always find specific products tailored for the region you're from, because the Amazon maybe you might go into might be specifically for the new destination. So the products, the way they structure their products, everything is just for the destination that they are also selling into. So yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting. It was interesting, and if you're in this space and you're thinking, what? There's a lot of things to do. When it is said in like 24 minutes, it's almost like compressing months into a few minutes. So it might feel overwhelming. So you might just maybe want to listen in bits by bits as you maybe check make your list, talk to people, find out what is important for you, what you need to make sure it's you stick everywhere in your fridge, not to forget. And then just go through the process of relocation and enjoy it, because it's also part of saying goodbye to the people that you've been with, and also now opening your heart to the new communities that you're gonna go into. So yes, it's Tuesday, and on Tuesdays we talk about moving from your home country or your current country to your new country. Have a lovely one, and yes, keep asking those questions. We still want to welcome everyone who's done a relocation from one home country to another home country to another home country, and they have homes everywhere. Like they've settled in several places. We'd want to hear your experiences, and we'd like to also learn from you as much as possible. Have a lovely one. God bless you so much.